Hello, listener.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Brown Carpet Podcast.
So good to have you here.
Slide your Crocs off.
Pull on a pair of tracksuit pants.
And time to get your rocks off.
Okay. What do we do, Corey? What is this?
Josh, I'm glad you asked that question. What we do here at the Brown Carpet Podcast is we take two weird news stories and we turn them into even weirder movie pitches.
That's a sensational idea.
It's a great idea.
Is that it? That's where it ends?
No.
Good.
Basically, what we do then is we put it out to the listener. That's right. You listening now with your Crocs off and your tracky dacks, you get to vote on which pitch you think sucks the least.
What happens to the winner?
The winner, we make a movie poster for it.
That is unbelievable.
So you get to choose which movie gets brown lit.
That is a vibrant idea bristling with possibilities.
Jump on board.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
He jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted endless, like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice. Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals.
Shut up. No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Friday the 13th edition of the Brown Carpet Podcast.
Josh has laryngitis.
You got that throat lozenge? I'm sitting across the table from one Corey Farrell.
You are.
Freshly back from his jaunt, Spain, LA. How's it been, mate? Talk us through it.
It's been a whirlwind, I've got to tell you. It was a success of sorts.
First and foremost, how is the pubic situation?
Ginger, still?
It's still ginger.
Still ginger.
I'm so sorry. Can I have a little peek?
Yep.
Show us. What do you got there? It's quite a bush.
It's a tuft.
I mean, the next girl that goes down there is going to want to take a compass and a machete because that is a lot to deal with.
A strong torch.
A combine harvester to roll through. So what actually went down? You went over to LA. I know there's some legal proceedings.
Yeah, so basically I suffered from pubis alopecia, went to Barcelona.
Antonio
Banderas Grotto.
Yep.
Thinking that I was getting a standard procedure of his pubic hair onto mine,
strand by
rejuvenation,
strand.
Ashley and Martin, advanced hair, Shane Warne, but for the nether regions.
Yeah.
Didn't go to plan.
No.
It basically looks like from the belly down, I'm Ed Sheeran.
Oh, no.
So
pretty much Sideshow Bob in the underpants. It's not good. It's a big red bush.
Chutney crutch.
So then to LA to commence legal proceedings?
Against Antonio, yep.
Can we talk about that? Is it all still in court? Where is that now?
No, we can talk about it.
Okay.
My lawyer has issued papers for damages because basically I'm going to have to dye my hair for the rest of my life.
Every day of your life?
Well, not every day, but continually.
Sure.
So I'm seeking damages.
It's a lot of just for men.
For hair dye.
Are there any upsides to having a big red bush down there?
No.
It's pretty horrific. It's a fucking horror show down there, really. Speaking of horror, Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, episode 20. Here we are. Well done.
Creepiest. That was a high five for the people at home. Should we do paper, rock, scissors to see who kicks off the scariest podcast of the year?
Yeah, let's do it.
On 3? It's so predictable.
We may as well not do it.
It's like you never left. So I'll kick things off.
What do you got for us, Josh?
Mate, this week I found a news story that just sat right in the wheelhouse of horror.
Okay, what is it?
Not that funny, but very fucking creepy.
Oh.
So the headline is, new Chicago public school grounds being built on the site of an estimated 38,000 unmarked graves.
That's not good.
That's dark.
That's not good.
A 15-year effort to build a school in the city's Dunning neighbourhood is underway with an unusual complication. Construction workers are taking careful steps to avoid disturbing human remains that may lie beneath the soil. The $70 million school is to be built on the grounds of a former Cook County poorhouse where an estimated 38,000 people were buried in unmarked graves. Among the dead are residents who were too poor to afford funeral costs, unclaimed bodies, and patients from the county's insane asylum.
Nothing good can come from a sentence that starts with unmarked graves.
No.
Can it?
That's pretty much the kickoff for me.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
That's enough. What do you got for me?
The title of my film this week is Midget Cemetery.
It's always midgets.
I've got to get midgets in there somehow.
Shout out to all our little people listeners.
All right, here we go. It's Christine Gherkin's first day at a new school, Cook County High. She recently moved to the area with her dad for his job as a newly appointed fire chief. Christine is to be played by Maisie Williams. It's Arya from Game of Thrones.
Oh, yep.
Christine suffers from anxiety, and she carries her emotional support poodle, Nuggets, at all times. She's a shy bookworm and hates the attention on her as the new kid in class.
Of course.
At lunch, she and Nuggets hide in the deepest, darkest corner of the library, where she meets a couple of fellow introverts, Debbie and Nick, to be played by Chloe Grace Moretz from Bad Neighbours 2, and Charlie Heaton, Stranger Things.
Every app.
Yep. They form a quick bond over their shared love of best-selling fantasy author Darius Storm. You see, all three of them are reading the exact same book, Storm's final chapter in the Graveyards of the Moon series entitled The Final Incantation. The book is huge, 1,384 pages, and while it was only released yesterday, being the massive nerds that they are, they're already halfway through it, powering towards the end.
Of course they are.
They debate how the book and the series will end, who will live, who will die, and will they ever find the incantation scrolls?
Nerds!
They get bashed a lot, surely. They're getting deep into a passionate argument over the meanings of the books when the bell for the end of lunchtime rings. Instead, they decide to skip, electing to hide in this back corner of the library and keep reading. Outside, a massive storm is moving in over the school. They read on as lightning flashes through the window and thunder rumbles through the walls, the perfect reading binge backdrop. These nerds are so deeply invested in the story, it's like time travel, and before they realise it, the bell for the end of school rings. They keep reading. The school librarian, Mr Coates, played by Michael Shannon. You know who Michael Shannon is?
No.
So have you seen the fish fucking film from last year?
No.
Shape of Water?
No.
Ah, well,
He's in that?
The bad guy in that, he's got a face on him.
Is there fish fucking in it?
Yeah, the whole film's based around a fish fucking.
Oh, okay.
The school librarian, played by Mr Coates, is making his final round for the day, a small stack of returns under his arm that he's gradually putting back on the shelves. He whistles as he walks. Exactly. The approaching whistle is first heard by Christine. He's coming this way. Debbie and Nick stop breathing and peer through the small holes in the bookshelves. Mr Coates rounds the corner, slowly walking closer. Debbie gets the hiccups, suddenly letting out a big one. Nick covers her mouth. They look back to see if Mr Coates has heard them. He's stopped whistling and walking, standing there with a weird look on his face. Surely he's heard something, and he's listening for the source, but after a moment he looks around, checks the coast is clear, and releases a 10-second, 3-syllable fart. Nick almost starts laughing, but Debbie covers his mouth. Mr Coates waves the fart smell away with a dog-eared copy of The Hobbit. He slides the last book back on the shelf and walks away. The three hidden geeks start to breathe again. After a few moments of quiet, the lights switch out and the sound of the library door closing is heard. 3 mobile phone torchlights blink on, illuminating their small makeshift reading room, and they return to the books, now on the home stretch. Outside it's dusk and the storm is only intensifying. Jagged lightning rips through the sky and heavy tropical strength rain begins. In the car park, Mr Coates cannot get his shitbox pickup truck to start, the engine whining and failing with every attempt. He slams his head on the steering wheel and lets out an exasperated "fuck!" We watch the torrential rain pound the car park, the lush grass of the sports field, and finally, the gardener's shed. The camera tracks around the back of the shed, where, lying flat under a tangle of vines broken into 3 pieces, a faded sandstone archway decayed with age. It reads, Midget Cemetery.
Ooh.
Up through the dirt, a small rotten hand bursts. A lightning flash illuminates the tiny jagged fingernails, green flaking skin, and loose hanging chunks of flesh. The cranky gardener, Old Red, played by Bill Burr, is the first one to die.
Nice.
You gotta get Bill in. Hearing moaning from outside his shed, he hits pause on his VHS copy of Howard the Duck, pulls on a raincoat, and heads outside into the pissing rain. After a few creepy moments, he's ambushed by several midget zombies. The first attack underlines the horror of pint-sized predators, as a 4-foot-tall flesh-eater buries his face in Old Red's crotch and rips off his junk in a single savage chomp. As the zombies close in to feed, his high-pitched screams are drowned out by the raucous rainstorm. Back inside the library, Debbie is first to finish the book, shouting, "Done!" and slamming her paperback copy down. Both Nick and Christine are close but not yet finished. They ignore and press on. Out in the car park, Mr Coates is still struggling to get his car started. He looks out the window and sees a shadowy group of children shuffling across the oval. He beeps his car horn at them. 3 long sustained blasts. The little zombies all turn towards the car.
Will you play with us?
Inside the library, Debbie has also heard the car horn and she climbs up to look out the window. She tells the others what she's seeing, but they are locked in concentration. "Done!" announces Christine, closing the book. That leaves just Nick still reading, with only a few pages to go. Nugget sparks at Christine. I think this little guy needs to take a dump. I'm just going to take him out for a minute." Christine stands and lets the impatient Nuggets drag her out towards the exit. Outside, a group of shambling little figures are approaching the broken-down car. Mr Coates flicks on his headlights, and the gruesome miniature blood-streaked ghouls are revealed. Debbie gasps in shock at the horrific sight. The undead midgets swarm the car, smash the windows, drag the librarian out through the broken glass and eat him alive.
Shit.
Genitalia first.
Straight for the junk.
They get a taste for the balls.
Genitals, shins, everything from the waist down.
Waist down just gets devoured.
Because of the height.
Yeah. Mr. Coates dies screaming as he is torn apart.
Shit.
Behind her, Nick slams down the book with a triumphant "Done!" Debbie shrieks and jumps in fright. Now he looks out the window and sees the gruesome horror through the rain. Hundreds of midget zombies are now staggering through the car park like some demonic parade, a morbid mini-migration. The sounds of Nuggets barking echoes through the hallway. This grabs the attention of a bunch of zombies, including the freshly risen Old Red, and they start moving towards the library building.
Oh no.
Christine walks back into the library with Nuggets, both blissfully unaware of what's happening. Before the others can explain, the sound of sirens fills the stormy night as outside the town descends into flesh-eating madness and murder. Glass shatters at the other end of the library as zombies crash through the window near the front door, trapping them inside. The first zombie inside is Old Red, and it's like he can smell them, heading directly for the reading corner, a snarling pack of mini midgets trailing behind him.
Ugh.
Nick looks for a weapon, but besides books, there's nothing, so he improvises. He snatches Nugget's leash out of Christine's hand and swings the small poodle around his head like a mace. In one almighty swipe, he connects Poodle with Skull and sends the undead gardener toppling backwards. The tiny zombies descend on the fallen poodle like seagulls on a hot chip. But this is only delaying the inevitable, as the seemingly endless horde of zombies continue to swarm into the library. Christine is very upset. They back into the corner.
Did she pick up the dog poo? Did she pick up Nugget's shit?
Oh, no, she just let him go.
She let the...
Small dog, small shits.
She let the shit go.
That's the least of their worries.
So that bothers me. That's going to come back and bother me.
They back into the corner, accepting their fate as the ghoulish mob surges forward. There's no escape. Suddenly, from behind them comes the loud crash of an axe on the wooden wall. In 3 powerful chops, a large splintery hole opens up, and Christine's dad, Fire Chief Gherkin, sticks his head in. He's to be played by Kurt Russell.
Oh, awesome.
Daddy! Christine shouts. I knew I'd find you here, Pumpkin, he replies. And one by one, he drags them through the hole to safety with just seconds to spare. Once outside, they climb aboard the fire truck and survey their surroundings. Cook County is in full-blown apocalypse mode. Midget zombies and the recently returned are seething through the darkened streets. Chief Gherkin uses the fire hose to blast clear a runway through the swarm of midget walkers. He jumps behind the wheel, revs the truck engine and slides on a pair of dark sunglasses. Hang on, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride. With that, he floors the accelerator, plows forward into the midget zombie chaos.
Yeah, do donuts on their heads.
Freeze frame on the impact. To be continued.
I like this in particular because people don't know this, but you often give a scenario to people about what would you do if you were trapped in a basketball court.
Ah, yes. It's quite the conundrum.
108-year-olds without a weapon?
Funnily enough, it came off one of Bill Burr's podcasts.
Okay.
It's like if you were dropped into a gymnasium, no weapons, barefoot, nothing on you to pick up and slam, and wave upon wave of 8-year-olds rushed at you, how many of them could you kill before they take you down?
Yeah, you've posed this to me before. But
what number did you go with?
I think I got to 37. But go for it. What's your tagline for this bad boy?
Tagline is 4 feet high and rising. Yeah, straight off the De La Soul. So cast-wise, I've got Maisie Williams as Christine Gherkin, Kurt Russell as Chief Gherkin, Chloe Grace Moretz as Debbie, Charlie Heaton as Nick, Bill Burr as Old Red, and Michael Shannon as Mr Coates.
And what are you going to do for all the little people?
I think this could be a boon for the midget industry. Like, this is the opportunity they can all be employed all at once. It's like...
Wee Man.
Yeah, we'll get him involved.
Mini-Me.
What's his name?
Warwick from Life's Too Short.
Yeah, that
Ewok guy.
We need hundreds of midgets in a shot. We're
That's
probably
right.
going to have to bring in some
CGI.
kids. Okay, yeah, we could go the expensive route. I was just thinking kids would be fine. Or like lots of dudes on their knees.
Kids are hard to work with.
Are they?
Yeah.
Harder than midgets?
I think so.
Midgets are cantankerous.
Are they?
I've heard they can be very
I'm sorry
crazy.
to any little people out there.
Yeah, I know. Do you reckon we have any midgets listening today?
No.
If you're a midget, send us an email.
Write us some hate mail, which you're going to after this, yes.
There'll be some savage hate mail. Soundtrack-wise,
Yep.
I've got Zombie by the Cranberries and then an original soundtrack by Rob Zombie and the Dwarves. A collaboration situation.
Nice.
I don't think it'll cost too much, to be honest. It's pretty much just a prelude of the trilogy.
Yep.
Mostly character development and set up with the one big set-piece thing at the end. So I'm thinking we can do it for about 35 mil.
Okay.
Then we'll throw all the cash at them.
Oh, yeah, the next one's going to be 60.
Big cash
60
in.
mil.
Oh, hunch.
And the book, The Hobbit,
Yeah.
to wave away the fart.
Yep.
I think there was an opportunity for something like,
Symbolism.
colonoscopies for dummies. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Corey's still quite jet-lagged at this point. So. What have you done this week, mate? Since you've returned home from La La Land,
Well,
what have you managed to find?
I found a story. The headline reads, "Woman who said wind blew a bag of coke into her purse."
The wind.
The wind blew a bag of coke into her purse.
Talk me through this.
Last month, Florida police stopped a woman in Fort Pierce for crazy driving, allegedly careening all around the road, ABC 10 reports.
Okay.
When Kenesha Posey, 26, rolled down her window to talk to the cop, the officer said he caught a big whiff of weed. Police searched Posey's car and said they found 2 small bags of drugs inside her purse, one of marijuana and one full of cocaine.
Ooh.
Admitting defeat, Posey copped to the fact that the weed in her purse was, well, hers, according to the police report. But the coke? Oh no, that was all thanks to a freak act of nature.
Okay.
I don't know anything about any cocaine, Posey reportedly told police. It's a windy day, it must have flown through the window and into my purse.
That's very likely. That can happen to anyone. I've had massive bags of cocaine blow into my bag many times.
Police apparently didn't believe Posey's tale about a magical gust gifting her gack through an open car window. And she was arrested for felony cocaine possession and a misdemeanor marijuana charge.
Right.
Which brings me to my film, which is, I'm going to say straight up front, it's a comedy.
A what?
A comedy, a horror comedy.
A comedy. Okay.
And it's called The Gustening.
The Gustening. Okay.
It's an electric...
Is Mark Wahlberg involved?
He is. No, he isn't.
He's not? Okay,
Damn
good.
it. I should have done that. It's an electric summer evening. Young William Jabroni, played by Dave Franco, is ready to hit the town and try his rehearsed lame pickup lines on any young female who listen. Something Willie also has prepared is a small bag of yayo, which he pulls out of his pocket, looks at with excitement, and quotes his favourite Black Eyed Peas song, "Tonight's Gonna Be a Good Night."
Oh, yeah.
Right at that precise moment, however, as if some sick joke from the universe, a big squall of wind comes from the heavens and rips his party prescription right from his fingertips. Willie frantically gives chase after the tormenting gust, only to notice something strange in the clouds. Amongst the sky's stormy brew, we've got some stormy stuff linking up in ours.
What a storm. I'm actually saying, you know that opening scene of Forrest Gump with a feather flying through the town?
Yeah.
Just with a bag of
That's
coke
it.
instead.
Yeah. Amongst the sky's stormy brew, he sees Bill Paxton's giant face, eyes blood red, and a boomy evil laugh in the sky. Willie, confused, rubs his eyes in disbelief. Spooked and conceding defeat, Willie pops over to his friend Mark's house to buy his leftover Dexies.
Oh, he's given up on the bag.
Yeah. If you're not following, the ghost of Bill Paxton has returned in the form of a cheeky but evil gust of wind. Ghost Gust Bill Paxton sets about his reign of terror, blowing the bag of cocaine past crackheads, always just out of reach, blowing it into postal packages marked anthrax destined for politicians, even blowing the little baggie around a car park outside a Beverly Hills AA meeting.
He's a trickster.
Discontented, though, with his evil pranking, Ghost Gust Paxton conjures up one more ghoulish gift.
How are you going to do Ghost Gust Paxton?
Like just in the sky, CG, like a face in the clouds.
So you'll just CG the whole head, right? Okay.
Yeah. Kind of like, you know the Kieran John Callahan clip? How you see Barnsley in the sky?
Yeah.
Kind of like that a little bit.
Beautiful.
Enter Kenesha Posey. I wasn't even going to make a name up for her because it was so great.
It's pretty good.
Played by Wanda Sykes.
Yep.
A weed-loving but generally law-abiding woman cruising down the highway in her Toyota Celica. Window down, Kenesha hits a fresh blunt, savouring that Cali Kush as she blows weed leaf-shaped smoke rings out the window.
That's some talent.
Kenesha is ripped out of her herbal high when she notices something glistening in the wind. A small reflective plastic object headed toward her at a great rate of knots. She squints as it gets closer, her hair blowing back with the growing gale. Is she tripping? No, she's not. Like a guided coke missile, the baggie is rocketed through her driver's side window into her open Dolce & Gabbana handbag.
Bullseye.
She looks up to the heavens to find a red-eyed, delighted Bill Paxton looking down on her, cackling like a madman. Before she can process this outlandish chain of events, Kenesha hears police sirens.
Oh, it's a popo.
Shit, I'm done for, she says to herself as she pulls over. She says that in her head, not out loud. The interior...
Full track. Can we get a subtitle there? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
The interior of the car now lit up in flashing police car lights.
She's fucked.
Kenesha winds down her window. The police officer leans and immediately smells the weed. "Ma'am, are you carrying drugs?" A frozen Kenesha staring straight ahead mutters, "Bill Paxton." The officer prods her again. "Ma'am? Ma'am?" Kenesha lets out one almighty scream to the heavens. "Bill Paxton!" That's it. So it's
Is that the end?
Yes.
Right. Another cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Would you follow it up with a sequel a year later? Because the people would want it. I'm sure they'd
You
like to
reckon?
know where that's headed. That's
I don't know what to do with it.
all the bristling potential. So we got no backstory on Bill. We don't know what happened to Kenesha.
Nah,
Okay, cool.
just take it on face
Just a
value.
moment in time. It feels like another short film almost.
That's the tagline. Just a slight extension of the news article that it was based on.
Pretty much with sound effects. Have you got a tagline?
Tagline is, he's got this one in the bag. Or she's carrying extra baggage. Not as good.
Not as good.
So Dave
You
Franco...
got to do it the other way around from now on. Do the shit one first.
I know. Set it up.
Finish strong.
Cast is Dave Franco is Willie Jabroni, Wanda Sykes is Kenesha Posey, Bill Paxton is Gus Ghost Bill Paxton, and Kevin...
Well, he's dead, so...
He's dead.
The CGI
CGI face.
recreation of Bill Paxton's
That's right,
face.
yeah. Kevin Heffernan from Super Troopers, father from Super Troopers, is the
Oh,
cop.
yeah. Nice.
Soundtrack is a Rick James anthology, so just Rick James
Of course.
tunes.
Yeah, yeah.
Budget, 20 milli.
20 mil.
CGI for the CGI Bill
yeah.
Paxton and the CGI weed-shaped smoke rings. That's a big part of this film.
Yeah, right.
To get that right.
I mean, that is almost half the film.
That's
so, yeah.
that's a third of the film.
Yep.
That one shot.
Sure.
So think Twister meets Blow meets The Happening. Actually, it's none of those because it doesn't really even feel like a film. But if it was a film, I'd like to think it was inspired by Twister, Bill Paxton,
Yep.
Blow, and The Happening, kind of.
Yeah.
Not really at all.
What's the connection to The Happening?
None. Apart from the title, yeah.
right.
It's
the title, pretty
the
much.
Gustening, The Happening.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So I thought
It embodies it.
the Gust Paxton was going to go on to create all sorts of havoc around the globe.
Well, you
But
know,
it's just-
it can. I like to paint broad strokes. Let the listener.
Sure.
Let the listeners fill in their gaps. You know, make their own film. It's
Instead
like
of you actually doing any work.
It's like choose your own adventure. That's
Sure.
that's how I write. Don't judge my process.
So you just build the colouring book and you let them do all
Fill
the
it in.
paintwork.
Fill
yeah.
in the blanks.
Yeah, it's nice.
Use your imagination.
In the 10 minutes of screen time that this film, and that's like
Okay, well,
stretching out a few sequences.
Help me out with it then. Let's bolster it up there on the fly.
I think the story of Kenesha is pretty much done.
Yeah.
She goes to jail, but I think we need to, whatever ghoulish, like what is the motivation of Ghost Paxton?
I think it's better if there's no motivation. If it's just weird, that's what he does now.
Why? I'm confused. So
Well, okay. Backstory is Bill Paxton's racist.
Ah,
Bill Paxton is a racist.
I always felt he might be a bit racist.
So he picks on black people, minorities. That's his. That's
That's what he does.
That's
He's
his
like a
vibe.
trickster going around dropping drugs in the purses and pockets of
Yeah.
African Americans.
Yeah.
Is it particularly African Americans that he's looking to frame?
Yeah. No, just everyone.
Jews,
Jews,
Yep.
Mexicans,
Mexicans,
midgets.
minorities, midgets.
Midgets, yeah.
Goes after midgets too.
Yep.
I think there's room for.
What else? Come on, help me out here.
I think you've got this powerful force of Paxton. I think you need to have the antithesis of Paxton, like the force of
He needs
good
he needs
that fights against him.
Okay, yeah.
Because Kenesha's done for.
Like a real story.
Yeah, like a real story. You know, how like there's a climax.
What is the antithesis of a
Mark Wahlberg?
as a human?
Sure.
Like a perfect storm. Thing?
Yeah, who starts to catch on to what's taking place.
How would he overthrow a Bill Paxton's weather pattern?
Well, maybe, like, not to typecast Mark Wahlberg, but maybe Mark Wahlberg is like a grizzled cop,
Yeah.
you know, getting close to the end of his service, and maybe on the body cam, you know, the little GoPros that they wear,
Yeah.
he catches evidence
Of
Bill
Paxton.
in action
Yeah.
and makes his final act as a policeman to take down this.
How would he do it though?
I don't know how he'd do that, mate.
Because you can't bring Bill Paxton into the courts.
No, you
He's
can't.
in the sky.
No, you have to put the system on trial at that point.
Yes.
I don't know. By system, I mean weather system. You've got to take the entire,
Maybe Wahlberg commandeers like a Zeppelin,
like a balloon.
like a Zeppelin.
Yeah.
With a scientist,
Okay. Who's the scientist?
Larry David.
Yes.
Larry David's a
Perfect.
scientist.
Yep.
And they work out. Or they maybe they band together like tornado hunters after
yeah.
Bill Paxton, like Twister, like the
We
movie
could
Twister.
bring Helen Hunt into this.
Helen Hunt.
Yeah. Why
Helen
not?
Hunt, Larry David, Mark Wahlberg in a pickup truck
Oh.
with a tornado machine,
Dude.
hunting down Storm, Bill
writing
Paxton.
itself, yeah.
This is much better.
Oh, it's much better.
Can I write my stories with you?
Okay, yeah. That's great. No, that's fantastic.
I think this is a new format.
That's a real
I'll have a
action format.
half-assed shitty idea.
Well,
then
I
you
mean,
and I will make
Pretty
it.
much you just brought in the news story twice with some funny names on it.
Completely.
And that's all we have time for on this episode of the Brown Carpet Podcast. Thank you for listening to our Friday the 13th special. You now have 2 films to think about. You got my film, Midget Cemetery.
And you got my film, The Gustening.
We're going to put up a poll on Facebook. You'll find it pinned to the top of the page. You vote for the one that you think is the least shithouse. At the end of the week, we find a winner and a movie poster will be made.
Lovely.
Anything else that you want to say there, mate?
No.
Nothing? Nothing like that?
It's good to be back.
It's great to have you back.
You wouldn't know it with my effort, but it's great to be back.
Yep.
Until next week, don't forget to flush.
See you, cunts.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted endless, like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice. Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals.
No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Back in the fucking hot seat.
Back in the sauna.
Like I never left.
He's going out there to check his hair again now. He's in the mirror. It's a fucking audio podcast. He's doing his hair. It's fine, mate. Just leave it.
How does my hair look? Does my
It
hair look
looks
good?
rat shit. Can you take your keys off? Be a fucking professional for once in your life.
Oh, for fuck's sake, for the love of all that is mighty.
Jesus.
Maybe I should do a horror intro.
Billy, are you in there?
Stay away from here, Tina.
I'm gonna get naked and take a shower. Oh, fuck, that's racist, isn't it?
Steen McSteinstein.
I've got basically my lawyer. You have to cut that out.
Yep.
Savouring that Cali Kush as she blows weed. Fuck.
Your reading has just dropped right off a cliff this week.
A small reflective plastic.
Jesus. Do you want to take a 10-minute timeout?
A small.
Come on, man. I'll just give you a foot rub and we'll start again in 10.
I'd like to point out that I take a lot of pride in my appearance. You wouldn't know it.
You would not.
And people out there don't get to see it, but
No.
Josh would have you think that I'm a hobo in fucking...
When did you last shave? In Australia? It's an LA shave, wasn't it? Because that looks like plain scruff. You got plain scruff.
It's a street shave, which is pretty much just
Sharp and
rubbing
rough.
a steel wool across it.
Yeah, right. It's fairly rough. Your one's called
The Gustening.
The Gustening. That's such a good name. Best thing about yours was the name.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It was meant as a compliment.
Well, it was meant as a slight.
It was a neg. A little bit of love.
You tried to neg me into having
and a
sex.
backhand. Yeah.
That's what this whole podcast is about.
Pretty much.
You negging me into intercourse.
Playing the long game. Get your pants off.